Hey, how's it going, everybody? Jeremy Donson here with E7 Music School. Today we're going to be doing Fight for Your Right by the Beastie Boys. Super fun song. It's got a lot of repetitive parts, but it's also got some changes and some challenges within it. A lot of bass independence, different things like that that make it really, really fun to play. So as always, if you guys enjoy this video, please do be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And you can reach out to me directly with any questions you have at jeremy@e7musicschool.com. And also, feel free to check out the website, and you can sign up for a free consultation lesson live, or you can purchase videos or monthly video membership access that gives you access to all the videos that I produce for you guys, but the full song broken down. It's awesome. So if you haven't tried that, definitely give that a shot. Super fun. But I look forward to hearing from you guys and seeing your comments below as well. And let's get started. I'm going to take you guys from the beginning to about a minute or so into the song. Here we go. Kick it! Alright, so that gets us to about 1 minute into the song. So now let's break down what's happening here. Alright, so first he's going to say, kick it, and then you're going to hit the snare drum, right? So kick it, and then the snare. Kick it! Okay, so once he says that, kick it, snare, crash. Kick it, snare, crash. So that could, when I've taught this before to some students, it was sometimes a little bit challenging because the timing of it. Kick it, snare, crash. Sometimes it's like kick it, oh, and then you hit the snare late. So if you're running into that issue, just think of it like 1, 2, 3, kick it, snare. There's no pause in between kick it and snare. So that's one thing that can be really helpful. If you get it naturally, then awesome. Right on. Very good. But okay, so we got kick it, snare, crash. Kick it, snare, crash, and you're going to crash with the bass drum. Now, once you do that, you're going to be on the ride bell here. You're going to be doing this a lot in the song, so you're going to want to try to get accurate in hitting the bell, and not just the top of the cymbal, but the bell of the ride. And there's two different parts of the stick you can choose to hit with it. You can hit with the tip of the stick, which you notice is a little bit softer of a hit, or you can hit with the shaft area of the stick. And you notice there's a lot more dynamic volume there, and you get a much more powerful, heavier stroke, if you will. So this bell really rings out in the song, so I would recommend using the shaft of the stick on the bell of the ride cymbal like so. So now we got kick it, snare, crash, snare, bass, bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare. Now, you're going to want to get this beat down very, very well because you're going to do it throughout the entire song. So this, the bass beat here is you're going to go, I'm just going to take the crash out for a second. You're going to go bass, snare, bass, bass, snare. So that when you do the bass, snare, those are both with ride bell. And then when you do the bass, bass, you're going to go bass, bass, snare. The second bass is without bell. So you don't go bass, bass, snare like that. If you find yourself doing that, you want to really get that dialed in. Pause the recording after I show you this and really make sure you have that dialed in well before you try to add anything else into the song, because you're going to want to get that down. Okay, so that you're going to go bass, bass, snare like so. Now, one thing that I have found extremely helpful is when you play this, you got bass and bell together. Well, the next bass you know is by itself, so if you move away from the ride cymbal, you're less tempted to hit that ride bell because you're moving away from it. So if you're actively moving away from it, you're going to be a lot less tempted to hit it when you're not supposed to versus having your stick here ready to hit, right? So you want to go both and then away, and that's really going to help you to make sure that you do not go bass, bass like so, right? Another thing is just getting your ride going like this and just practicing bass, 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 bass without changing your ride cymbal hitting. That's another thing that'll be good practice for you. Okay, so with that aside, let's go ahead and go into the beat here. So we got crash, snare, bass, bass, snare, and then you're going to do bass, snare, bass, snare. Okay? So crash, snare, bass, bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare. That is the core beat of the entire song. Now, let's see how many times we do that, and then when we crash on this intro section, and then I will show you. Here we go. Kick it! Okay, so you heard that crash after the second phrase that I did, or the fourth measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, crash. 2, 3, 4. Right, so you can think of that in one of two ways. You can think of it as two phrases that you do, or 4 measures that you do. Either way is fine, but basically you're going to do this. I'll just count the measures for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, snare, bass. So on 8, we are going to do that fill. Now before we do, really quick, so the fifth measure, you're going to crash, right? So basically you do bass, snare, bass, bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare twice, and then you're going to crash, and then you do it again, and on the end of that 8th measure, this is the fill that you're going to play. Bass, snare, bass, bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, bass, snare, bass. Now let's talk about this fill here. So this is a fill where it could be much easier if we did bass, snare, bass, left, right, left, crash, and we didn't hit the bell on the snare fill. If we just went bass and bell, and then left, right, left on the snare, that would be a lot easier than doing it the way that he does it, because he hits the bell on the second of the 3 snares here, so it can be a little bit more challenging. I would say the most common thing that I've seen my students run into is that they want to go, or something along those lines, and they don't want to. They want their right hand wants to be more active, simply because for most drummers who are right-handed, it's the dominant hand. It does not want to not play. It wants to be playing during that snare fill too. So I would recommend you practice doing this: bass and bell together, snare by itself, snare and bell together, snare by itself, and then crash with the bass. And if you need to, break it down some. So bass, snare by itself, bass, snare, just get comfortable with that, bass, snare, and then after that snare, you're going to do snare and bell together. So bass, snare, snare with bell, bass, snare, snare, bass, snare, snare, and then one more snare by itself. So that's the fill is basically snare by itself, snare and bell together, snare by itself. Just like so. Okay, so now we have that. I'll play the last 2 measures of this beat. And that's how we go into that. All right, now you're also going to do that fill several times, so you really want to get that down well also. All right, so let's jump back into the music here. Okay, we're going to just start at, let's say, 15 seconds. Here we go. Now, the way that we're going to play this is we just go back and forth between the hi-hat and ride cymbal, and it's the same thing we're doing. You're just switching them, and that's it. So on the hi-hat, we have, so once you finish this fill, bass, snare, bass, bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare, you're going to play that one set, you can call it. And then you're going to crash over and do the exact same thing in the ride cymbal. And then you're going to crash over and you're going to do the exact same thing in the hi-hat. And then crash. So it just goes back and forth the same thing. And it's the same beat. So it's still the bass, snare, bass, bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare. And then you just simply switch, right? That's all we're doing here. So let's do that with music. And then I'll show you the section where he pauses, which is pretty cool. And here we go. 15 seconds. Awesome. Okay, and then we get into that part. You got to fight for your right to party. Okay, so where we're going to stop that at is over here on the ride section. You gotta fight! So after he says some kind of jerk, that's the last part, and that's when he's on the hi-hat. That's the last part before he is going to switch to the ride cymbal and then do the pausing section where he's going to be having the crashes and pauses and coming back in with the fill. So whenever you hear him say that, you know that that's the final time the ride cymbal is going to go into it, and then you're going to pause and do this next section that I'm going to show you right now. 42 seconds. Here we go. You gotta fight for your right. Okay, so you're going to go bass, snare, bass, bass, snare, bass, and then you're going to stop, you're going to choke it, you're going to keep it from ringing out. And you got to fight, crash, crash, and you're going to choke that cymbal also. Now, when you do those two crashes, you're going to do basses with the crashes, and they're both, you're going to choke it after they're done. So you don't need to go choke, choke, you just go crash, choke, like so. Crash, choke, so you gotta fight, like so. Now, once you do that, you really want to count this next part because you can get off time. So let me just play it for you, and I'll count it and show you how to keep track of where it's at and when to come in on time. You gotta fight. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there you go. So whenever you do the you gotta fight, crash, crash, that second crash is 1, right? So you gotta fight, crash, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're gonna count to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you start the fill. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you fill. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. Now, the fill itself is going to go like this. So after you do the choke or the crash choke, and again, the choke is 1. So remember that the choke is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're doing the fill on 1 or 5 or whatever you wanted to call it. Then you're going to do the bass, snare, and crash together, all 3, and then 3 snares, okay, and then after you do that, you go back to the ride bell again, back to the normal beat. So you don't actually crash at the end of that. If you do, right? It's not the end of the world, but the drummer actually does not crash there. He goes right into the ride bell. So that's how we're going to transition that. So now let me start back where I did before at about 45 seconds and show you all of this and then keep going. Here we go.
Some kind of jerk. You gotta fight for your right to party.
Now, so then you just do the same fill again that you did. And you're back into the hi-hat, and you go through this phrase again and again and again, and it just continues on like so. All right, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and there's a lot more of that to come. Same beat, going into the same things that I already showed you, but there are some changes coming that are pretty cool as well. So if you need any help with that, I really encourage you to go to the website, www.e7musicschool.com, and become a monthly member to have access to all of my full song videos for a monthly membership. So super cool. You get access to the entire song, not just part of it. Or you can meet with me or one of our other teachers for a live consult that is free, a live lesson. We would love to meet you guys. So either way, we're here to help, and we're so thankful for all of you. Thank you so much, and be sure to have fun, stay awesome, and rock on. Later, guys.